What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Daredonera, the gamer now. You know what I'm saying? We got rid of that long part, your average gamer dad. We're just going to do the gamer, this new branding, because that's what I am. I'm a gamer. I'm also a gaming dad, but I'm a gamer. So we're going to get into this, my very first how to play video. And we are going to go over how to play Kwang, my favorite main in Predecessor right now. I mainly play him off lane. I know I can play him in the jungle. So we're going to go ahead and immediately start talking about how I build him and why it's successful and why I build certain items. And we can get you out there Kwanging like me. And I got Shinobi coming, so I'm going to try to tether him. And oh, he's lucky. That's our kill, because I don't know why he came back in. And we got I got Greystone, so I must have got Greystone with my RB. Light to the heaven. Usually that front person about to do that. Always look for your last hits. That's what you're looking for. Look, see, this is why you want to make sure you kill the minions, because the minions will help you out in getting the kill. People really disrespect the creeps. They really do. The minions and the creeps, people really disrespect them, thinking they don't do that much damage. Did y'all see? Let me get them combos and look at the minions. Look at the minions just taxing his ass. Yeah. Y'all see, he can't fight me anymore. So the first thing I always go into Obelisk Crest. I don't do any of the tanking ones because they don't really serve him well. And out of all these are pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie. Obelisk is good, Tempest is good, but the one I go with is Typhoon, because I like when my abilities are down. I like to be able to have that extra attack speed to secure my kills, to get my life steal off a life binder, and just extra damage on creeps. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat that. You know what I'm saying? Controlling lane is key. So I always go into Typhoon. So the very first item I build on Kwang, after I get my money, so I can build these items. All right, that should be enough. One more good hit. So the very first item I build on Kwang, always is Fire Blossom. One of the very first reasons why I build Fire Blossom is for the defense, physical defense, health, and mana. Kwang really suffers really bad with mana consumption, especially in the early game and just throughout the game, because he's a more so ability based hero in the game. So the second reason why I also build this item is because it does a tick per second while people are around you, heroes and creeps alike, and it gives me the opportunity to control lane and do damage on the creeps, so I can shore up my last hit. And if I'm destroying my creep lanes quicker than the other person, I can get basically the creeps to fight along my side, even though they're fighting for my side, against the hero in the lane, and basically force him to waste his abilities and waste his mana. So Fire Blossom is one of the reasons why I did. Now, the second item I build into is usually depends on if I'm going against a magical damage hero or a physical damage hero. If I'm going against a magical damage hero, or if I'm winning lane, if I'm going against a magical damage dealer, I will go straight into the second item being a magical defense item, which I love a couple of these. I love Vanguard for the team playing aspect of it, because you gain 30 physical damage. 30 physical armor, 30 magical armor on top for 4 seconds once you take damage from a god. So you're more tankier, and it refreshes every time a actual hero hits you. And you also give 10 physical armor and 10 magical armor to your allies. So it's a good team play item. So, if I'm trying to be nice, that's the item I'll go to play to be nice. Flux Mace is really good because it gives you also that extra health it gives you that ability haste that Kwang needs, and it gives you magical armor too. But the biggest thing is the unstable shackles, where you get the 10%. Let me take my face out the way. You get the extra 10% additional magical damage for people around you, and you get the 20% decreased tenacity. Now, tenacity, which I didn't understand what it was at first, what it does is basically makes your CCs last longer. So Kwang has a knock up. So with that knock up, basically it'll keep the knock up for a little bit longer. And that's a good item on them. I personally go Spellbreaker because, like, the reason why I go Spellbreaker is because it also gives you magical power. Because, you know, I like to do some damage. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, I'm a bruiser. I like to do some damage. It gives you magical armor, and it gives you that ability haste. But mainly the thing I get for it is Veil. Now, when you get this armor, you get Veil. While Veil is active, which is this bubble, while Veil is active, as you can see, let me move my face again. While Veil is active, you get increased magical power by 20%. So this is really good, especially early on in laning when you're just poking the minions, poking the hero you're going against, and even in early team fights, you can do that extra magical damage because you can throw your sword out and strike it with the thunderbolt on Kwang. I'm hoping everybody understands that much. If you come into a how to play Kwang video, you understand how his abilities work, or you played around with him a little bit. But I'll go over it a little bit towards the end of the build segment of this, so people can understand like a little bit. But there's going to be a gameplay version part of this too, where I'm going to go into showing you how the items work in the game instead of just showing you what I build and telling you just to have fun and build on your own. I'm gonna show you how it works and why it's good. So, like I was saying, you get the bubble. It blocks the next ability from the hero. I'm so used to wanting to say God because of smite, but it blocks the next abilities from hero. So that means any kind of knock up, any kind of like really strong ability damage or physical damage item, their ability is gone. So you already get a 1-up in the fight because one of their abilities are just going to go disappear. And that comes back every minute, every 60 seconds. So that's why I like to go Spellbreaker. A lot of people also go this. I don't get me wrong, it's a frontline item. I'm very bad with pronunciations, but it gives you 350 health, gives you that magical armor you need to be a bruiser, and it gives you 10 on your ability haste. And its passives, you gain more stacks of this every 0.5 seconds. So you gain more magical damage, and also it gives you more magical armor. No, magical, not bad. I said magical damage, magical armor, and movement speed. So the good thing about that is when somebody's doing like a mage is doing magical damage to you, you could run towards them faster. Because the best thing about doing with mages, they don't like to fight up close. So be able to move quicker up to them and getting that movement speed, or even just get out or dodge abilities, it's a good item. But like I told y'all personally, I like to go Spellbreaker. Flex Matrix is pretty good. Vanguard for team fights. And when I was early on, I used to get this for the bubble, but an ability haste and a little bit of magical power and extra health. And it does a shield that explodes and gives you magical damage for 50% of your magical health. Your health, I think. No, it does. When it explodes, it deals magical damage equal to 50% of the initial shield. So how much health you have, it does 50% of that as damage when you're in close. So that's good every once in a while, especially because it goes off when you cast your ultimate ability, which Kwang jumps into people, so that shield will go off. I personally don't use it myself. It just ain't what I want. So the next item, after me talking about the second item, third item I would go into, well, actually no, because it's still the second item, because I wouldn't go into this unless I'm going against a magical person. What I personally go into, and we'll do like a little bit of explanation, I go into Emma Frost. Now, if the person is doing physical damage to me, I'll do this. Or if I'm winning lane really well, I'll do this. Because it gives me more health, it gives me the ability haste, it gives me physical damage, some more physical damage. So basically, I'm really tanky against physical people at this time, which I like. But the main reason why I get this is because it restores 5% of missing mana every time Frost Blade actives. So, like I said, Kwang in the early game really loses a lot of magical mana. He loses a lot of mana because from his magical abilities. He goes through them. He's a magical ability based god, so he loses a lot of mana early on. And it empowers your next basic attack to do 40 magical damage and plus 35% physical damage, and it gives you some actual extra health, and it slows the target. So I like to chase people down. I ain't gonna lie to you. So that's what I get. I get Emma Frost. Then I would go into, like I said, my magical defense item, which would be Spell Break. So let's get on to our fourth item, and this all depends on how the team's going. Now we can get into doing some hurt to people, hurting people. Now there's 4 different items, I believe. I might be wrong. We'll look over them, but I think there's 4 items that I really personally like going into. The first one, I like Lifebringer. Lifebringer gives me a lot of ability haste, gives me extra health, and gives me magical power. I love having magical power. So this, I go into this if I feel like I need that extra sustain to fight. But me personally, like I told you, I like the hurt, I like the damage. I go into this. Now, I want to say it's Callista.
What did he say?
But I go into this because it gives you that 70 magical power, and it ignores 40% of magical armor. At this time in the fight, when you're building your 4th item, and sometimes I'll even build this on my 3rd item, because it gives you that 1% magical regain for maximum mana you have, and while you're below 50% mana, so you're gaining that magical, like I said, that magical mana regen. I keep saying magical mana regen, which Kwang needs. So sometimes I might build this 3rd because I want to do damage, and on top of that I want that mana regen. But mainly I did it for the 40% magical armor, because by this time tanks are a little bit tanky. I want to make sure when I'm in team fights, I'm doing some damage for my team on top of the physical and magical defense items that I have to be a bruiser for my team. But I also want to make sure I'm hurting, so I'm getting these kills. We're getting these unfair advantages for their team, basically one of them being down. So it might be a 3v3 when we first get there. I might kill somebody or get somebody low enough with the damage I'm doing, and now it's a 2v3. So I'll go this, and then easily after that I'll go into Lifebinder if I want to have that more sustain and be more of a bruiser and have that more ability haste towards the end of the game. It all depends on how the game's going. Or I'll go into World Breaker and go straight up all damage. Let's get people out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because it increases your magical damage by 3% for 5 seconds. I can stack up to 4 times. So we're talking what, 12, I believe? Yeah, 12% for 5 seconds. You gain health based on your magical power. So you even get even more health. So you're being more bruiser. So you can't go wrong with either Lifebinder or World Breaker. It all depends on how much damage you want to do. Or you can go full on tank and pick some more of those tank items I showed you on and be a full on bruiser tank. But I like to go this because I like to, mix and match and do what I need to do. And I also like to do Lifebinder because, like I told you, I get Typhoon early on. So that magical life steal that I get. Kwang also does magical damage on his auto attacks through his passive. So now, since I'm gonna I talked about his passive, we're gonna go into his abilities. Now, his passive, as you see, Strike of the Heavens. On doing damage to an enemy with an ability, you gain a stack of Energize for up to 4 seconds, and you can do that up to 3 times. Every time he hits with a basic attack, he does a lightning bolt for 48 magical damage to nearby enemies. So it's basically like a cleave. You around me, it basically does magical damage to you. So you're getting more life steal. So that's where Typhoon comes in and Lifebinder comes in. And also hitting a god with Kwang, you get your ability cooldown by 1 second. So you need to be in the fight to get his abilities back online. And on top of that, that's why I don't go into too much haste, because you're getting seconds off every time you're hitting a hero. So you don't really need ability haste that much on them, but some people go really heavy ability haste on them. So how you want to build Kwang is you want to do Light of the Heavens. That's his RB on Xbox. I don't know what it is on PlayStation and PC, but on Xbox, it is Life of the Heavens is RB. The reason why you want to build this, when I first started playing Kwang, I did not build this first. That was a mistake. You need to build this first because, one, it gives you that shield, and it's the strongest ability damage. And when you combined it with Judgment of the Heavens, throwing your sword somewhere where it gives you that tether for 1.5 seconds, you press RB, it shoots that lightning bolt there to the sword location, and you get your poke. So that's how you get your ability mana, health, and that's how you get your whatchamacallit, the I'm gonna say Emma Frost on too. Doing ability damage, and you can go in there, do the third ability, which is Surge of the Heavens, get that knock up, and get your what am I thinking of? Get your Emma Frost activating, or your Oath Keeper if you want to go into that too. I didn't mention that too much. Let me show y'all what Oath Keeper does. It's a good item to build with Emma Frost because it also gives your next basic attack that 50% magical damage on hit effect and gives you ability hit. So you can also build into that too, depending on how you want to build. If you want to do more damage, you can go into Oath Keeper. But the combo is easily RB. What you want to do, you want to throw your sword. You want to do the Surge of the Heavens, knock them up, hit RB, the strike while you call your sword back to get that shield, and then basically run them down. And I'll show you more of that in the gameplay aspect of laning off. Did y'all see? Let me get them combos and look at the minions. Look at the minions just taxing his ass. Yeah. Y'all see, he can't fight me anymore. So hopefully I wasn't too jumbled and making this horrible or talking too fast. Pause it to read some of the item descriptions if I feel like I didn't explain them correctly. But now we're going to get into the gameplay aspect where I can show y'all more so and walk y'all down step by step while I do things and how I'm winning lane all the time, depending on my team, my teammates. You know how teammates are in Predecessor and Smite and all kind of games like this in League of Legends. They can let you down sometimes.